The situation looks crystal clear. Usually, Bitcoin rallies massively a few months after the halving. We've seen this several times in the past. Now we are roughly at that stage, and so it seems pretty obvious Bitcoin should be rallying from here. There's some data that suggests that maybe this 4-year cycle theory is somewhat oversimplified. Let's have a look at some doubts. Let's have a look at what might happen, what most people are actually not anticipating. So here's what everybody's looking at. This is Bitcoin over the very long term, when it was just a few dollars, all the way to today. And sometimes Bitcoin is high, sometimes it's in a bear market. And have a look at those vertical lines. This is the halving. So in the past, whenever a halving happened, several months afterwards, we've seen this massive, nice bull run. It happened in 2016. It also happened in 2020. And now we've just seen the halving in April of this year. And again, we are relatively low on this logarithmic trend. And we should go off to the races again, right? 200K and above. But not everything looks exactly the same compared to prior cycles. Check this out. Have a look at the stablecoin market cap. This is showing how much fiat currency is currently on chain. As in, when you send money over to a centralized exchange and you then trade it for USDC or for Tether, then new Tether tokens, new USDC tokens are created. When you're redeeming your money, right? When you are selling off your USDT or USDC, then the market as a whole is shrinking. What we see over here is the Terra Luna collapse. So when UST imploded, which then started a bear market for more than a year. And what happened in October of this year is a recovery. Now have a look at the altcoin market cap during the same time. When the market shrunk, the altcoins didn't do too well either, minus 75% here, or maybe 71%, right? A lot of the drop happened already at the very beginning. And then starting from October of this year, when the stablecoin market cap continued to recover, when money flowed into crypto, that's when the altcoin market cap also was able to rise. Now what's this right vertical line over here in April of this year? The altcoins haven't done too well since then, and that's possibly because the stablecoin market cap didn't rise that much since then anymore. Here, this is the 21st of April. The growth clearly slowed down. And so that partially explains why it's so hard now to make money in crypto. It's 100% player versus player. The market as a whole isn't expanding that much. Thus, you have to pick the few winners if you want to make money with altcoins, with buying altcoins at least. I rather short the altcoins now. I bet on falling prices of altcoins that inflate a lot in supply. If you're interested in that, feel free to check out the premium membership. It's down below, thebitcoinstrader.com. But getting back to Bitcoin, there is also quite a bit of a change compared to prior bull run. Check out this chart. This is the hodl waves. This shows how much percent of all of Bitcoin supply is in the hands that hold Bitcoin for a maximum duration of 6 months. So we see how during a bull market, more and more short-term holders enter the space. So the long-term holders take profit, the short-term holders on board because they hear about Bitcoin maybe in the news. We then see how the fraction of short-term holders tends to shrink during a bear market. So it's then again the long-term dollar cost averages that take over. And so we had seen this increase of short-term holding pretty consistently during a bull market. We've seen it in 2017. We've also seen it in 2020, right? This continued to rise up until the price peaked. So during the bull run, more and more was held by the short-term holders. Now this has changed. Have a look at the current bull run, right? Where everybody is now expecting an explosion a few months after the halving compared to prior peaks. We don't see that interest by short-term holders is increasing anymore. It's flat. It stays at the current level. And since when is it flat? Since April of this year. The exact same time when the inflows into the stablecoin market cap. So yes, we could make our life simple and say we simply just have a 4-year cycle and it's going to repeat until infinity. But I believe the market is becoming smarter than that, right? People want to anticipate the tops and they want to buy the bottoms. And so history might rhyme, but it's probably not going to repeat itself. The market is maturing and we can already see from the on-chain data that the current bull run is not exactly the same compared to prior bull runs. Inflows have halted. I believe there's 2 reasons to buy into crypto. The first reason is that it's simply just very cheap to whatever kind of comparable you might take. I personally like to look at, for example, the realized price, so the average cost basis. If Bitcoin is below the realized price, I tend to buy. This is when I consider crypto cheap. So in case you're not familiar with this model, this is Bitcoin with its average cost base or the realized price. Whenever the market in aggregate is in losses, that's a very nice time to buy, because people simply just tend to wait when they're in losses, right? They're not going to sell a Bitcoin position when you believe over the long term it's going up and when you're currently in losses. Thus, entry opportunities are when we are below this orange line. Exit opportunities are at some point when we are above. Finding the right exit, I believe, is a bit harder than finding the right entry point. Currently, the realized price is at $31,409. So that's the first reason, buy whenever crypto as a whole is very low. Currently, we are not low, so that's not a reason to buy now. Another reason to potentially buy is when momentum is positive, right? When simply just a lot of new people enter the space. The price might not be very low, but because there's simply just so much steam behind the train, it might make sense to simply just ride the wave. Again, we look at the realized price. Had you sold over here when Bitcoin was at $600 and the realized price was only at $360, then you would have missed out on this nice rally up to 20K, simply because riding the wave, riding the current rally is the name of the game when crypto is expanding. And so that's then the central question. Are we going to see positive momentum or has it died? Is this enough of an indicator to say that we aren't going to see massive 3, 4, 5x rallies in Bitcoin in the next month? Is this enough of a concern, as in there's not a lot of new speculative new wallets joining? I don't have a crystal ball either, right? I'm simply just pointing out the data and you can make your own decisions. I'm personally rather risk off. I personally rather bet on falling prices of especially weak altcoins. But whatever approach you try to take, maybe just don't base it on gut feeling, but on some kind of data, right? On some piece of data that's maybe not just price data, because this is what everybody's looking at. If you want to get an edge in the market, you have to look at data most people aren't yet considering. At least that's what I believe, right? If we want to time the bottoms better and the tops better, then we need to have information, or we need to process information most people aren't using. If it's your first time here, feel free to subscribe. I publish videos regularly. A like would be very much appreciated as well. It helps the channel grow. Feel free to also join our Telegram channel. The link is down below. See you over there. Cheers.